This audio presentation of You Are God is broadcasted to you courtesy of MindworthyInfo.com, and it's presented to you by yours truly, Rasheeal Dixon. The purpose of You Are God is to break down the Bible and to show you that the Bible is nothing more than allegory, and it isn't meant to be taken literally. But throughout the ages, men has been taking the Bible literally, and by doing this, they have diminished the true mystical fact that lies within the Bible. You Are God is here to break down the Bible piece by piece and to show you that all the characters, places, and events are nothing more than different states of man's consciousness personified as characters, places, and events. Brothers and sisters, I thank you so much for joining me for another installment of You Are God. Come on over to mindworthyinfo.com. Subscribe. The newsletter is always phenomenal. And stop by the YouTube channel, Mystical Thinking with Rasheeal Dixon, and get a visual representation of the teachings, and it will help build your mind and help continue further your knowledge when it comes to these practices. Today, we're going to talk about Prove Me, testing your imagination. But before we get into this teaching today, we must first speak about the imagination and how the human imagination is something that we live in. If you don't believe me, just go outside and you will see how the imagination of a human being or of human beings manifested. From the roads that we drive on, to the automobiles that we sit in and drive on these roads, and to the airplanes that we fly in, to the spacecraft that get sent to space, the satellites, submarines, everything that we see in our outside world was first created or sculpted in the imagination of someone, and they believed in it, and now we are just witnessing manifestations come to life. Everyone can prove and test their imagination, but many forget to believe in it after they reach a certain age. It is when we are young kids, we are told how our imagination is powerful and how it is everything. And then when we get older, people are given the attitude as if it is make-believe and you must be realistic, not knowing that realistic that one is speaking of is one that denies the power of the imagination, and you impress nothing but bad on it and imagine the worst, and the worst comes and you forget the understanding of the power that the imagination holds. Matter of fact, only a few who believe in this type of mysticism will understand the power of the imagination. So when we say prove me, testing your imagination, we must look at how in the Bible it is a whole story teaching you how to control your imagination, and how the characters are nothing more than different states or of consciousness personified as characters, places, and events. And the authors wrote the tale so well that they took psychological states and gave them characteristics of actual human beings, of actual people, and gave them a personality. And to those who don't look at this with a sharp mystical eye, they might lose the real message behind every story, which is a story of redemption, of faith, of belief, of you can make it happen if you believe, and the world is yours and you are God, and I am the one. You're the first and the last. You're the Alpha and the Omega. But people forget this, and they get caught in between, forgetting who they are and looking at the outside world and taking on the pain. Forgetting that the story of the Bible and the story of God is one that is speaking from the inner being of man. The mind of man and the mind of God is one of the same, because we could even look at this from the perspective of the Bible was written by men. It was written by illumined individuals who wrote a tale and a story where they buried different teachings in different ways and different clues for man to figure out. But it would take the one that has the mind that wants to scratch and go below and want to go beneath the surface so they can get the value out of it. You must know the power that you have. So every day we are testing our imagination. But to see what you test in your imagination come to life, you must prove it to yourself. You must prove it and believe in it. You must hold the faith that will let you see what you believe come to life. Believing is seeing. It's not seeing is believing. Believing is seeing, because when you believe it, you will eventually see it. Don't hide who you are or hold back who you are because you're trying to soothe someone else's weak feelings, or you're trying to appease the outside world. You must appease yourself. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven, and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Malachi 3:10. Malachi means my messenger or my angel. An angel is a messenger. An angel was considered a messenger of God. The messages and the angels that you come in contact with is that hunch feeling, that internal feeling that you know there is more, and it's always guiding you, and you're always getting an aha moment, and it drives you. When you bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse is the treasures of life and the treasures of God that lives within you. Tithes. A tithe is a offering. When someone is tithing, they're giving an offering. People think when they go to the church, the physical church, they're giving an offering. But the true tithe that you have to give here is the undying allegiance and the belief in God and knowing who you are, and knowing that when you bring all the tithes into the storehouse, meaning you're bringing all the allegiance, understanding who God is, and in the silence, you are knowing and understanding what's taking place, that there may be meat in mine house. You eat off of this meat, you will be fed when you understand this knowledge. And prove me now herewith, you are proven this, saith the Lord, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. When you believe so deeply and you go inside and you don't allow no one to make you stumble or fall over in your belief system, you will see how things will manifest, and a blessing after blessing will be poured out unto you, that there won't be enough room to receive it. And the aha moments will be the messages you will receive from when you believe deeply and know who you are. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead. So they are without excuse. Romans 1:20. The invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. These invisible things are what comes out of the imagination of man. Everything is clearly seen. We see it all when we go outside. We see it all when we do our normal things in the world. Every creation were the invisible things. These buildings, these roads, indoor plumbing, everything that we have. And now we see it as the creations in the world. And it's understood. We understand that when we know who God is and know the power that he holds, we know that this force, this being lives in all of us. You must always prove it to yourself by testing it. And you test it nonstop. You could do this simple act right here. Write something down. And this is called scripting. Many of you may know about this. Write something down. Now put it away somewhere. See it in your mind as real and true, and let it go. And if you truly believe and add the emotion, you will see what will happen. We do it all the time when it comes to things like misery, doubt, things getting bad, getting worse. It seems it's easy for a lot of people to manifest what they say they hate and the hurt than it is to manifest the joy and the happiness. It's because we live in a world that made us become so conditioned to pain and hurt that it seems like that's all we get. So I want you to test your imagination and prove me. Prove me by testing your imagination. And me means prove that God that lives in you. And prove it, and you will get everything. It will pour out blessings onto you that there won't be enough room to receive it. Like what was said in Malachi 3:10. 10. Family, I thank you so much for listening to me, and may you please come on over to mindworthyinfo.com, subscribe to the newsletter. It is great teachings over there, and also stop by YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mystical Thinking with Rasheeal Dixon. Amazing, amazing stuff. I thank you all for joining me for another installment of You Are God. Remember who you are. Until next time, brothers and sisters, now let us go into the silence. One love.